Hello and welcome to Animated Anarchy. This is a Minicast episode featuring Andrew and Mike. So, let's talk about D23. Because we went to that on Sunday, like last week. Well, what date was that? That was like
oh god,
probably the 12th, 13th, something like that.
I don't remember.
We came in late. Basically.
Yeah, it was
everything had already been announced by the time we got there.
Yeah, we came in on the last day of the show, which was Sunday.
Yeah.
It was you, me, and two of our friends, and we went to D23. I went because D23 is the big Disney convention that Disney runs. It's a very not that big. It's not a very big con.
No.
But I went 2 years ago because every other year they alternate.
Uh-huh.
So when I went, it was 2 years ago when I first went, and it was at Anaheim near Disneyland.
Yeah. And
then the following year they did it in Orlando. They did it near Disney World.
That's right, because you were telling me that they alternate between them.
So I went 2 years ago with my roommates at the time, and I had a really great time. It was really cool, and I also got in for free then.
which is always good.
Which is always
especially
good.
For a convention.
But we went in, and it was some great stuff. They had some cool swag. They had a great merch area where you could buy all kinds of cool Disney crap.
Right.
And it was really, really fun. And then I'm like, we should go. And then I kind of convinced all three of you to go.
Yeah, and I was
it's weird because I'm a huge Disney fan. I love Disney.
Me too.
But I was ultimately disappointed. Like that, we did a bunch of things that day.
Well, I didn't see the convention that you went to because honestly, it's like I can't compare to it. You can honestly compare to it, but this was my first experience at D23, and I was just like, I'll go. I really wanted to just see this for myself, and it's like $74 to get in.
Yeah, I mean, like even if you bought the tickets in advance, it still would have been about $60.
Yeah, which is a lot.
Well, it's Disney's
which is really funny. Okay, here's the thing: when I was like signing up to get a ticket, and this is the first time I ever had to sign a survey before getting a ticket.
Yeah,
usually
it
would
weird.
Be afterwards, and there were portions of it where it was like. Are you going to the convention for the cosplaying? Are you going to see celebrities? And I just marked those as 0. And then when I tried to click continue, it says like you have to cosplay.
It seemed like that at first
at the convention.
But they realized like what it was really a scale
it was
of
really
1 to
you
10.
have to answer.
You're
it's either 1 or 9.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is cosplaying to you?
Right.
But it did. I noticed that too when I did. It's like seriously, though, dress up. What do you think about cosplaying?
I thought that was funny. Yeah. I was like, oh my god, they want me to cosplay and see celebrities.
Yeah, shit. But
I'm at gunpoint here.
Yeah, but we went and we drove down to Anaheim and we got in. Which was fun. And we waited online, it was a hot day and we were outside. It was it was one of the hottest days on record. It was about 100. I mean, in the valley, it was probably 106, but down there it was about 101.
I don't think it was that hot.
It felt hot.
It felt hot.
It wasn't humid.
Especially when you're outside. It's just like the sun's beating down on you. And it's just, ugh.
So we got inside, and it's a lot of merch. Like, here's the thing, though, like, about me. Like, even with Comic-Con, we've gone to Comic-Con a few times. I don't go for panels. I don't go for screenings. I don't go for signings. I don't go for swag. I don't go for exclusives or releases or collectibles or any of that cosplaying. None of that stuff.
Well,
so for me, it was kind of like going to D23. I guess because I just went in like. I don't know. I guess I expected more of it, but then at the same time, the fact that I personally don't partake in any of the normal cons.
Yeah,
things,
it's like I don't want to wait in line at all for like.
I don't want to spend $80 and wait in line to get a picture with Dick Van Dyke. Like I didn't really care.
Yeah.
I didn't care enough.
Yeah, and who else was there?
The voice of Bambi, Donnie Dunnigan, was there.
Voice of Up.
Ed Asner.
Ed Asner was there.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, even Eric Goldberg and a lot of cool animators.
Yeah, Eric Goldberg was there. I wish I could have met Eric Goldberg there, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to wait in lines for anything.
Yeah,
I hate waiting in lines, especially for something where it's like, okay, I'm gonna wait in line and I'm gonna pay $140 for this one print that is like way too expensive,
right? And
for one thing.
And the thing about it is that,
and then I have to pay to sign it.
There was a point early on in my life where I thought that autographs and meeting people was important. Mm-hmm. But then, like 10 years ago, I realized, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of? I mean, like,
I'm one of those people that it's like, if it's signed, I don't mind, but I will not seek people out to sign something because really, it's like, once it's signed,
yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really increase the value of it. It's just something that I guess I
mean, there's things that are cool. Like one of our friends.
I understand.
One of our friends got a signed print of the Goofy movie poster, signed by Jason Marsden and
now
Bill
something
Farmer.
like that. Something like that is like, oh, that's so lucky that you got to do that.
Cool.
I would love to have done that, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to wait for it. So it's like, that's cool that you got that, but. Ah, man.
Yeah, like we were envious a little.
Yeah.
But then, like, like I said, since it was.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, like, having something signed, especially if it's something that you're interested, I can understand the excitement for it and that it's really neat. But, like, for me, it's just like I could live without it.
Right. And that's another thing, too. Like, a couple years ago when I went, I bought a couple Disney things. Mm-hmm. And it cost me some bucks, but I was working at the time. I was making money, and right now I'm saving money, and there were some things that I really wanted, like really badly.
Same here.
And we were like, no, and then I didn't buy. I mean, there was one thing I
don't think there was anything under $100 there
that you did. There was
that I wanted
right.
At least.
Like for me, I ended up buying, and it was something that I've been looking forward to for months. And I knew I wanted to get it, and it cost like about $400.
Yeah, that was
which is a steep like for someone like me who doesn't spend a lot of money and hates spending money. It was an extravagant buy, but they came out with it's coming out in like 2 months. It's every Silly Symphony cartoon.
Yep.
It's a vinyl record collection. I think it's like 16 records or something like that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't know how many, but there's a lot of records, and it's just they restored just the music tracks of every Silly Symphony cartoon. I love vinyl records.
I hope you're nothing but a nothing is on that.
You're nothing but a nothing.
a nothing.
But yeah, it was. They probably will be.
Yeah.
But I really want it, and I got it, and I pre-ordered it, and they gave me. I haven't even checked it yet, but if you pre-ordered,
that was like the first thing you went to.
I said, I want it because I want to make sure they weren't sold out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I got the set. It's coming soon, but they gave me a single. How
was that?
I didn't listen to it.
Oh, you haven't listened to it yet.
But it's Skeleton Dance and like 2 other cartoons on one side.
Was it
and Three Little Pigs and something else on the other side.
Yeah.
And I haven't checked it out yet, but I assume it's really cool and I want to check them out.
And it's not even like a CD set, it's a vinyl.
It's a vinyl, and I asked, are they going to come out with these on CD? And they said, oh, we don't know if we're going to do that. And I'm like, damn it.
Usually when they say that, they're going to.
Yeah. But that was cool. And then I bought some for a friend, and then other than that, there were some things I really wanted, but for me, like I said, since I don't do the con thing, I don't do the waiting, I don't do the panels, I don't do any of that stuff. It really was spending $70 to go in to be to have the opportunity to buy more stuff.
Yeah, well, that's usually what a convention is anyway.
Right.
I mean, like. I am completely done with San Diego Comic-Con.
Me too.
Just because it's gotten way too big that it's going to collapse in itself.
It really is already collapsed on itself.
And I can't enjoy it anymore just because there's too much stuff going on. There's way too many people, and going into a panel is like you have to be there the day before anything happens.
And I don't really care.
I don't really care about Hall H or anything.
Yeah,
I just want to see like the regular panel stuff. Like going into a Mystery Science Theater panel, it will take. I have to be there 3 hours in advance just to go in.
Yeah,
and I'm not even guaranteed to go in there.
Right. Like for me, the only. Like, I would go to D23 again, or San Diego Comic-Con again, if, one, I didn't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, it was complimentary.
Or if I had something to promote, but chances are that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the only panel that I enjoy whenever I go to whenever I went to Comic-Con, it was one that I was like, oh, I'll go out of my way to go see that.
Yeah.
Is Jerry Beck's Worst Cartoons Ever.
Oh yeah, well that's one's like
fun.
Always open.
It's always open.
It's always open because it's like, and it's a very huge panel area, and going.
It's
in
at night, and everybody.
It's at night. Everyone leaves already, and it's fun. Yeah, I love that stuff too.
Yeah.
I also do like the voice actor panels because they're always held in like a very large area.
I've only been to 2 panels in my lifetime. I mean, outside of
there's one at Comic-Con that I really like called Quick Draw, and it's
Scott Shaw.
I think no, I don't know if Scott Shaw. I think he was there once, but the main guy is Sergio Aragonés.
Oh, Aragonés, that's right.
And there's like a bunch of other artists there that it's basically like a Whose Line Is It Anyway, but for artists. And I always loved that, and it's like I always wanted to do something like that, just draw like really quick stuff.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. And watching that's really good. But those are like the only memorable things about Comic-Con for me that I would actually want to go to a panel for, because like I remember going into one of the panels for Burn Notice, and I was just thinking to myself when I was sitting there, I was like, my God, Comic-Con has just become MediaCon.
It's MediaCon, yeah.
There's really nothing about a comic about in this panel.
And they push a lot of small time people out every year.
Yeah,
like there's people who've gone there for 20 years and they finally were like pushed out.
Yeah, I really think it's become a place for people to just look for celebrities, and go to panels for stuff that they wait in Hall H for days, just for the new exclusive Star Wars lineup that they're doing,
gold spray paint colored Darth Vader.
You will eventually find on Twitter later on. Anyway, that was another thing. I wanted to go see the new Disney Infinity stuff, and while we were there, I was like, okay, is this the line to get a free thing? Like, yeah, you have to wait in line here for it's 2 hours, and then you can go up to a kiosk and pick your Disney Infinity figure. And I was like, oh, screw that.
Yeah.
And I found out later on Twitter what the latest Disney Infinity figures were going to be.
Right.
And it turned out to be the Zootopia characters and the Good Dinosaur Kid, the caveman. And I was like, oh, there's no Darkwing Duck. There's nothing really interesting there. And it's like days prior, we already had heard information about all the movies.
Yeah, because all the big panels and stuff happened on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
So by the time we
and
went
I
Sunday,
didn't really care about Star Wars or Marvel stuff at all. Well, actually, Marvel I think they keep for Comic-Con, and Star Wars is just kind of like adding. At D23, they're just kind of like adding little details and stuff like that.
The one thing at D23 that I thought was really cool were there were people who went out of their way to do really cool cosplay costumes.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in there.
Sometimes really obscure too. Like, I mean, I think I saw Katrina Van Tassel from Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Yeah,
I saw the best one. I saw
there were a lot of drag queen princesses.
A lot of them. A lot of drag Elsas.
Yeah.
But the one
I think it's fun. But
you saw a really cool.
There was
Robin Hood.
Yeah, there was a female Robin Hood, which I took a picture of, and I thought that was really neat.
Yeah,
I didn't see a whole lot of cosplay at the time, but you pointed out to me a couple things every now and then, and off the corner of my eye, I would see like, oh gosh, there was a really obscure one that I think we were both surprised. Oh, there was a Jose Carioca.
Yeah, we're like, oh, they got the straw hat and everything.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite one that I saw was a woman in a wheelchair. She had a scooter, and she wasn't that old. She didn't seem that old, but she decked out her chair to look like Dumbo, and she was in a wonderful Timothy Mouse costume with the band leader hat and the ears and the whiskers. It was great. Yeah. It was a really
stuff
really
like
cool.
That is creative and cool to look
I think
at.
you could find a picture of that on if you just search for D23 Dumbo cosplay or Timothy cosplay. Yeah. You'll find it on Google. It was actually a really cool. I was like that kind of warm. That to me summed up D23 at least because like. There was a part of me that was like, wow, that was a complete waste of time. And then there was a part of me that was like, you know what? Despite that, there is something about Disney fans where you have to feel like, well, your heart is warm like a child. You feel like a child, in a way. But then you realize, it's going to cost like there was something that I really wanted, and I literally was like pressing my nose.
Let's talk about the stuff that we wanted to get because there was a ton of stuff that I wanted to get.
Much
but I went out empty-handed. But you had your vinyl stuff and our friends,
which was really just a pre-order. I only got like a record,
right? Exactly.
And then they gave us like a swaggy,
there was a Jiminy Cricket.
It was a Jim Shore Jiminy Cricket keychain, and Jim Shore does that like weird, like you see a ceramic figure, but they're also like polka dotted colors, and it's like what? No, it's ugly.
Yeah.
But You say what you wanted.
Okay, well, there was a couple things that I wanted to get, and I eventually just went on eBay.
eBay got 'em.
Anyway, there was a Who Framed Roger Rabbit poster, like a what do they call it? They call it a one sheet, and this is like the big theatrical poster that they have like on the side.
Where it's it's like the film reel of Roger. It's an outline of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
in a film.
And I found one. We found one there, but it was signed by who? What's his name?
It was signed by Nick Ranieri, who was an animator on the movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally fine with people signing it.
Yeah, it was just like right in the middle.
But it was right in the middle of the thing, so it was sort of
and
like.
he signed a ton of Roger Rabbit posters.
Right.
They also had like the Roger Rabbit posters from cartoons that were just in the background of the movie.
Right, like Engine Trouble or whatever it was, and it was these you see in the back of Arcade Marine's
and I kind of like those too. It's like that's great to see posters of those because like they're really obscure, and then there's Tummy Trouble and stuff like that.
Trail Mix Up and stuff.
Yeah.
But then they would have like. Another thing, and I commented on it too, is that we saw a lot of posters and things signed, or drawings signed by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson.
Yes, exactly. And they would just sign everything.
Yeah, but the thing about it that I learned was that Frank and Ollie would sign anything that people gave to him.
You're right.
No matter what, if it was
even if they weren't involved.
If they weren't involved, like they would sign Dumbo stuff, and it's like neither of you guys worked on Dumbo. Why are you signing this? But there was a lot of stuff signed by them, and to me. As much as Frank and Ollie were really cool animators and they were really great, to me, something like seeing a movie poster that was signed by them, like that, it almost lessens the value.
Yeah,
of it, to me.
It does.
Like
and a lot of those were like $20 and $30, and they would go like in. There were very few that were around the price range that I wanted to get them at, and there was a Great Mouse Detective one that I almost got from there, but we
ended up buying later.
Yeah, and then I wanted to look for like a Black Cauldron one,
and
I found one. Yeah. But yeah, and then we went to this one vendor who had like a ton of great little toys.
They were all either ranging from old.
Vintage
rubber vinyl toys to new collectible toys. His name was, what was his booth? Earl's Toys
or something
like that.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty big booth that wrapped around and had glass cases
and stuff. In there I remember seeing a Scrooge McDuck bank, a bank / clock. It had like a clock in the front, and when you put coins in it, it would talk. And I later found out the things that he would say is like a penny day, it's a penny earned, and stuff like that.
Money.
Money. Go around. And I love the look of that thing. And I think the guy was asking $125 for it. And I was thinking like, you know what? I'm going to come back and think about that.
So we were gone for maybe like an hour and change.
Yeah.
You come back and you were like, it's sold.
I was like, yes, I was going to go back to get it, and I was like, it's not there anymore. They also had a really great statue of the Horned King from Black Cauldron, which looks
it was like a bust.
Awesome. It looked really great, and I almost got that one too. But it was a lot of stuff where it's like, that's cool, I'd like to have it, but it's way too much.
Like the best.
There was stuff in boxes that I wanted to get that I would buy it just to take it out because I would want to display this stuff.
Right.
The Roger Rabbit Metacom stuff.
Figure,
yeah, there was like Jessica Rabbit,
Benny
Roger Rabbit, and Benny. And for the entire set would have been like $300. And they were in the box. And it's like, if I took those out, I would be like, what did I just do? Well,
they look cool out of the box.
No, they do look cool out of the box, and honestly, I would like to get those out of the box.
As long as you kept the box, I think it wouldn't lessen the value of them at all.
No, I guess not. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to pay that much for that.
It's a toy.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. Like I used to collect, and I have them. I actually just had them shipped from home. I used to live in New York, and I had a bunch of them shipped from home.
Yeah,
years ago, I collected the Walt Disney Classics Collection figures. Which were these wonderfully detailed, beautiful ceramic figures made by, I guess, Unesco, which is now.
Oh, are these the small ones that are in like a case?
They're in a green box. They come in a green box, and they're ceramic.
It's like a set.
No, they're not really a set.
No?
They would do a bunch a year, and you can get ones that are in sets.
Oh, okay.
But they're individual. Like I have, all kinds of characters, and they stopped doing them about 2 or 3 years ago. And Sorry, I turned on the light. But I used to collect them, but they're ceramic. They're expensive. It's like buying Precious Moment figures.
Right.
So like I would buy, like you can get one that was like $50, and it would be a Stitch that was about the size of a salt and pepper shaker.
Yeah.
And then you can get ones that were like $500, and they were these giant sets. And I had money. I saved up a lot of money ever since I was a little kid, and I'd buy them. And my, for birthdays, my mom would buy one for my birthday.
They're really cool.
They're
sets,
cool. But then I realized that there was a point where it's like, you know what, I gotta own an apartment. I gotta support myself. I gotta go to college. All that stuff. So I stopped doing them, but I kept all of them.
Yeah. What was the set that you saw? It was the Wind in the Willows set, right?
It was a set. I've been looking for them for years. Back in the day, years ago when they used to do the Disney catalog, they used to get in the mail. Disney really cared about their niche, like their collectibles audience.
Yeah.
So they would come out
with Disneyana. That's what they would call it.
Like Disneyana, they would call it. So like it would be like, hey, it's the.
That's what I think D23 used to be.
It was like the Disneyana convention.
Yeah, because I remember.
But it wasn't. I don't think it was an official endorsed. Actually, it could have been an official endorsed.
It might have been because it was still at the Anaheim Convention Center. Because I remember specifically my dad, when he worked at the hotel, he would sometimes go to the convention center when they would hold the Disneyana convention.
Yeah.
And it was a lot smaller. It was like, I think it was kind of like itself, and it wasn't really endorsed by Disney, but it was still like about Disney stuff.
Right. People selling stuff exclusive. They would have exclusive stuff.
Yeah.
I remember there were some of those Walt Disney figures that were Disneyana exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
But, what was I saying? I was saying, those figures were really expensive, and then I realized, I gotta have I gotta support myself. Right. So I don't need to buy these things anymore.
That same booth where you saw those, though, it's like I just looked at all the Disney Adventure books, and I almost got a couple of those. Yeah. But then I was thinking of something. Yeah,
you don't really need it.
I don't really want it.
And
I still would at some point like to have some Disney Adventures, just to like read them, because there's some really interesting stuff. I just recently got into collecting some like late 80s, early 90s Disney comics.
Yeah.
Which are like, the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the old Darkwing Ducks.
DuckTales.
There's DuckTales ones as well. There's Roger Rabbit ones, which are really great. And, they have like random ones as well, like Tailspin and stuff like that. So it's like I've been really getting into those. So, I mean, that stuff's great.
But I was saying before, back in the day, like back in the late 90s, early mid 2000s, Disney really cared about making decent products, not only for their like the kids and whatever, but they would also make stuff for collectors. So it would be like, hey, it's the 57th anniversary of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Here's an Ichabod and Mr. Toad, like just a 2-page spread of just Ichabod and Mr. Toad stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool stuff, figures and stuff. And they would do big figures, which were really cool, and they would do lamps, even like stained glass lamps and things. Like there was a really cool Three Caballeros stained glass lamp, which was really neat. But they used to come out with these things. For a few years they did these pewter sets, which were these little pewter figures of the characters, and they were really well sculpted, really well painted. And they did like a...
Yeah, they did look really nice.
Yeah, they did. They had an Ichabod and Ichabod set, a Mr. Toad set. They did a Dumbo set.
I think they did a Pinocchio one?
They did a Pinocchio set, a Fantasia set. And then obscure things like a music set, which I actually found a listing for on an auction site, and I'm actually looking at right now. It's ending in like 4 days, and I'm going to keep an eye on it.
It's funny because a lot of the stuff that I spotted at D23, it's like I'm just looking for online, and just kind of like on the off chance that I find one that is affordable, I'll get it. But
like I would have bought a poster at that, like a movie poster.
Oh yeah, the posters I'm definitely getting.
Then it's called lugging them around.
Yeah. That's another thing, like bringing that stuff around.
Rolling it up, and it's annoying.
Let's talk about the movies that were revealed at D23.
Yeah, that's true. They talked about they had at the Disney Animation booth. They had stuff for Zootopia. Which is coming out next year.
I want to say next year, but I feel like
I can't remember.
I don't know exactly when.
It's their next.
It's their
movie.
Next feature film.
Yeah.
And then they had they were talking about Moana.
Yeah, which is coming out next year.
Yeah, and after that is going to be Gigantic,
which is the Jack and the Beanstalk movie.
Which I joked was going to be like a love story between a Jack and a 50-foot tall woman, or a 50-foot tall teenager that is 16 years old. And then someone mentioned to me, is like, oh, she's 11 years old. And I was like, that's going to make the romantic element really creepy.
But I'm curious to see. I mean, it's just weird because I remember seeing like the title, because originally the title was called Giants.
Right.
and I guess they changed the title to
they probably didn't want to make it like the baseball team.
Tangled, Frozen. So now they call it Gigantic. Yeah. Which would have been better than say Jacked with like an apostrophe D or something like that. But I mean,
this
whatever.
summer, Jacked.
Get jacked.
Jacked
this summer. But
looked interesting.
Yeah, and then they showed.
I thought it was cute, like the little drawings of like the giant girl that.
Yeah, it was. There's one concept image which is really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were promoting because it was coming out like that week. It was the Disney Shorts collection.
Yep.
And which is coincidentally, I have a little story to tell about our experience. They're coming out. It just came out like last week. It's the Disney Shorts collection, which they're really promoting it as like, oh, you could check out Feast and Frozen Fever and whatever, and get a horse on this thing. But there's a bunch of films that came out years ago. Like one of them that I saw, I was interested in seeing, and then I finally saw it in college. Was a film called Lorenzo, which is about a blue cat.
I remember seeing clips of that, and I was like, how can I watch this? And then all of a sudden, it disappeared.
Yeah, you couldn't even find it. And Disney kept promising, oh, we'll put it out on the next like Fantasia DVD or whatever, and they never did it.
No.
So they finally came out with it on on video, and the guy directed is a guy named Mike Gabriel. He's been working at the studio since the mid '80s, and I think he co-directed Rescuers Down Under, and he was art director on a lot of. He was, I think, most recently art director on like Wreck-It Ralph. And
this
Frozen.
is all stuff that you told me while we were at the Trader Sam's at Disneyland Hotel.
After D23, we said, well, it's early enough in the day. Let's go to downtown Disney, and in the Disneyland near the Disneyland Hotel is Trader Sam's and Chanatiki,
which is really different to me because like I haven't been there in like quite a few years.
So it was. Yeah, it's really different, but it's one of my favorite places to go. Even in Disneyland, it's like.
And this is the first time I've been there, and it's a really fun little bar.
Yeah, and the only thing was that you wouldn't expect every time they'd ring a bell and be like, "Oh, it's a shipwreck."
Yeah,
because the thing about that bar is that you order a drink, and then when you get a certain drink, something happens in the bar, some animation happens. It's a really cool bar, and they got some cool
ding
music.
Ding!
It's an and it's really it's worth if you ever in Disneyland and if you want to just get hammered after Disneyland, you go
and
to
you did,
and I did. I drank really fast.
Yeah,
and I had nothing in my stomach.
Right,
but
we were gonna eat lunch after that.
Exactly. But we were at the Trader Sam's, and I turn around, and I'm like, is that Mike Gabriel? And it was Mike Gabriel. Yeah. And I'm like, it's D23
yeah. You were debating
shit.
Whether or not to say hi to him,
and then finally at the end, I said, you know what,
yeah, I already left. I was outside, and then you
were walking out.
You were inside drunkenly, like deciding whether or not.
But I immediately sobered up, and I was like, "Hi, you're Mike Gabriel." And he was with somebody, and I said, "Hey, I just want to say it's your work is awesome. I bought an original. He had recently had an art show at a local gallery in Burbank.
Yeah,
and I bought an original painting from him, and I have it in my house now." And I said, "Hey, I bought one of your pieces. Just want to say it's a pleasure. I love the work you've done. He's one of my favorite artists." And he's like, "Oh, thank you so much. I hope you had a great time at the thing." And I said, "I did. Have a great day." Yeah. And I left, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
He goes by.
I wish I said hi, but you were the. I was the same way as you.
The thing is, like, I don't believe, like, even before we were talking about signings and booths. And stuff
yes,
like that.
exactly.
Like I don't want to idolize anybody.
Yeah.
Because as much
and
as
you
I
also don't want to bother anyone,
right?
Because especially like if they're in the bar and they're with other folks, you don't want to like. You don't want to like pester them too much. But at the same time, it's like, I understand artists, like they do, people like recognition as well. And to say like, if I saw Eric Goldberg somewhere, I would want to go up to him and say hi and say, thank you so much for being such an inspiration to me because you got me into animation. Yeah. And something like that, I think would be very heartwarming, especially to the artist, because they want to know that what they do is making an impact on someone. Yeah. So I think it was great that you said that. And the thing is, I'm sure that was a highlight.
And the important thing about it is that, first of all, I don't idolize them and their people. Like, as much as I admire their work,
you admire their work.
They're no different than me.
Yes,
exactly. They're no different than me. They're no different than Joe Schmo. But I do admire the work that they do.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't idolize them. I think of them as an equal, but I admire their work, and it makes me want to strive to be better.
Yeah. Exactly.
So looking at someone like look up Mike Gabriel's work. He's incredible. But he directed Lorenzo.
Mike Gabriel, if you would like to become a sponsor of Animated Anarchy, please email us.
But if you can go out and buy the Disney short film collection on DVD and watch Lorenzo, I remember I finally saw
it. Definitely. I picked that up because it came out this week, and
I wish
I'll
you
be
had
getting
it now.
it soon.
I want to watch it so
yeah,
badly.
me too. I'm really curious about seeing the shorts in there that I have never seen, like Lorenzo.
Yeah,
so.
Lorenzo's gorgeous. It's, I mean, I can't say anything really about it without.
Exactly.
It's just a shame that it's so damn short.
Yeah,
it's a short after all. But yeah. So, but overall, yeah, D23. There was some cool stuff like you could buy and cool stuff to look at. They even had a little exhibit of Disneyland stuff. And you could see like pieces of the park and stuff. But other than that, it was kind of, I'm not into the con thing. So
it was. I mean, look, I'm glad that I went there to experience it, but at the same time, it's like I think it's like, okay, I've seen it. I don't really think this is for me. I'll probably just hear about all the information online,
right?
And yeah, I mean, next convention is going to be in Orlando anyway, so who knows?
Yeah.
But I'll go if I'm invited or if someone gives me a ticket.
Or who knows? In 2 years, I might be swimming in dough, and I'll be like, you know what? I want to buy that gold-plated, Cyril Proudbottom.
You should wear like an outfit, a monocle, and like a top hat, and just go like, I will buy.
No, I'll put on a top hat and a suit and go as Scrooge McDuck. And go out and buy everything.
Well, but then you wouldn't buy anything because you're Scrooge McDuck because...
Money's everything. Whatever. But
I didn't get rich by buying these trinkets.
Yeah. Buying these stupid tchotchkes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but yeah.
That was our experience at D23. And it was all right for what it was. But it was... What I think for me, I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't know, honestly, what else I would want to expect. But, for what it is, I saw a lot of stuff that was really neat, and I'm glad that I hung out with you guys.
And I felt guilty. Just one last note. I felt really guilty because I think I hyped it up a little too much.
Yeah.
And then I was like, guys, it's really cool, and there's some cool Disney stuff.
And then afterwards, you're like, guys, I'm really sorry. And then we drank ourselves to death.
And then we ended up getting barbecue, which made up for it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's funny, at the end of the day, because we did a bunch of stuff. We walked around, we went to the shops. We
went to downtown Disney and then looked at the shops.
And it was really fun. And then at the end of the day, I looked back and I said, wow, the most disappointing thing about today was D23 itself. But it's, I don't mean to shoot down D23.
No.
I mean, I just personally am not into the convention thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm not into waiting in lines for a panel or to look at displays, especially
stuff that you're like, oh, I want it, but I can't have it.
Yeah,
which is better. Than,
whatever.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. But that's that. That was our
D23.
D23 experience.
Yeah, cool.